Here is the Ushio C cubed cold cathode light bulb. This is a CCFL bulb, which is becoming pretty rare. This is a 13 watt model, 2700K. They clearly underscore in the box that this should not be in enclosed or recessed fixtures because the ballast needs to dissipate its heat. These are dimmable bulbs down to 30%. And they're not intended for outdoor use because they're not resilient to substantial temperature changes. Looks like these came in from Canada, perhaps. I don't know. These are becoming very scarce, these cold cathode bulbs. And really, I think they're a highly underrated style of lighting. This is what it looks like. It kind of looks like a regular CFL, but the fluorescence tubes are much smaller. And unlike CFLs, these often have a extensive lifespan. I think a lot of these are rated for 25,000 hours, and they usually attain that because unlike the LED counterparts, which have similar lifespan ratings, these are built to pretty good quality standards, and so they typically perform the way that they're advertised. This is a very heavy light bulb. The base where the ballast resides does have an air vent here to let the heat out, and it's got a good amount of weight to it. It's 13 watts dimmable. I believe 13 watts is equivalent to a 60 watts incandescent bulb. Not for use in totally enclosed fixtures. I think the main reason why these bulbs didn't really catch on is because one of the main drawbacks is that they have a very long startup time. And there are certain applications where that's not bad, in fact perhaps ideal. For example, a bathroom. In the middle of the night, it's very pleasant to turn the light on and it starts dim and then it gradually gets brighter. But in a lot of cases, people want to turn the light bulb on and they want it to just be instant brightness right away, which is completely understandable. But I think that primarily is why these never really caught on. There could have been cost limitations as well, I'm not sure. It's also a pretty big bulb, which at the time, CFLs were pretty big too, so that could have been a deterrent as well. This one isn't outrageously large. I don't really even think it's that much larger than a conventional light bulb. Let's see here. Yeah, it is a little bit, but it's not crazy. It's maybe a half an inch taller. So it is bigger, but it probably would still fit in most lamps. Anyways, let's go ahead and turn this thing on. We're testing at 121.4 the volts. So we'll go over to the watts. And we'll power this on. Try to get a good view of the startup here. It's got a really pinkish color to it, and it does, probably on the camera you can see this, but in person it looks like it does on the camera. It's got looks like stuff's running through there real quick. It's a very interesting, very pinkish red color. I don't think the camera's capturing how red that is. That's a super red color. The camera's not really picking that up. It's super red, and you can see what I was talking about before, the very slow startup times. It's only all the way bright up until like right there, and it's got to go all the way up. Now you can really see that redness now. So this is kind of the downfall of these bulbs, is that the startup time is very, very long. They have weird colors on startup and just takes forever. Right now it's drawing 10 watts and it's not outputting too much light at all. So we'll just let it sit and warm up. Another advantage to these bulbs over CFL bulbs is that these are not really affected by startup cycles. You know, the typical fluorescent bulb, a lot of the wear on the bulb starts when the bulb is initializing and lighting up for the first time. Or not for the first time, but lighting up when it's off. So turning it on wears it out. Whereas these are not really affected by the power on cycle as much. In fact, I don't think they're affected at all. Okay, so it looks like we have one ring fully illuminated. We're still waiting for the rest of the bulb. We're still drawing 10 watts on the nose, 0.11 amps, and a power factor of 0.74. Now we're up to 10.2 watts. And we still have not gotten up to the third rung yet. We're only on the bottom two. So you can see the startup is really, really slow on these. Super, super slow. This is going to be a pretty bright bulb once all those rings are going. It's already starting to get kind of bright. We're up to 10.3 watts, so it's pulling a little bit more power as more of it illuminates. I mean, it's already kind of bright, so this is going to be a pretty good bulb. It's even lighting up across the room there. Not bad. Looks like we got about 2.5 or 3 of the rungs fully illuminated, and the rest are still warming up. These bulbs are great in fixtures that run a lot of hours. You know, if you have like a lamp on a timer, for instance, in your house for security, and it cuts on at, say, 6 o'clock and runs all night, this is a great application for something like that. It's not even halfway. It's not even halfway up yet. I think it's been several minutes now, and it's still not even halfway there. So this is why people didn't like these bulbs. And admittedly, it's not practical in a lot of situations to have to wait, 5 or 10 minutes for your lights to work. If you walk into a room, you want it to just turn on. So I understand why these didn't sell, and I understand why on the surface people think LED is superior to this, but I still think that if you really want efficiency, this is the way to go. And if I was personally to use a high hours lamp or have some kind of a fixture that's doing high hours inside the house, I would put up with this extended startup time for the efficiency, because the quality of light that this outputs is really pretty much on par with incandescent. There's no flickering, there's no weirdness about it. It's a really clean, crisp light. So good color temperature is pretty much identical to a standard 60 watts soft white bulb, and the power draw is a fraction. It's still, 11 watts now. It's hardly any power at all compared to 60. Yeah, looks like we're about halfway up now. It's just slowly creeping up the bulb. The redness is kind of going away, and the top is just dark. It's not really any particular color, nothing interesting going on there. It's just not illuminated yet. The cathodes are getting kind of hot. Actually, they're getting scalding hot. I can't even keep my hand on there. But the ballast is cool. And so if you mount this in a situation where the ballast is down and the heat from the tubes can just radiate off the top and not go into the ballast, this should really achieve a very high hours lifespan. I wouldn't at all be surprised if it meets or exceeds what it's rated for. Looks like we're about 3/4 of the way up. I mean, this really is kind of ridiculous how long it takes this to get going. I completely understand why people didn't like these and why they didn't really take off. And we're almost all the way there. Just waiting on the top to fill in now. It's up to 11.5 the watts. Still not there yet. Still got about 1 or 2 more rows left to fully illuminate. Right now the wattage is up to, or the amps is 0.12, the wattage is 11.6, the power factor is 0.77. Alright, looks like we're almost there. Not quite yet, but we're almost there. And that probably was close to 10 minutes for that to fully start up, which is a long time for a basic light bulb. As far as the brightness and the quality of light goes, and it's bright. Yeah, it illuminates everything in the room just fine. I would say it's definitely as good as a 60 watts incandescent bulb. There's a very slight refresh rate noticeable at typical 60 hertz fluorescent refresh. It's not super obvious. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but like if you move your hand in front of the bulb, yeah, I think you can see it on the camera. You can kind of see the refresh rate of the bulb. This one's not very obvious. Usually it's like the old T12 fixtures are real bad with it. This is not bad. I don't think that this would bother me in a normal application. Unless I'm looking right at the bulb, I don't find this light source to be uncomfortable at all. I think it's all the way illuminated now. We're looking at 11.8 watts, 11.9 watts, 0.12 amps, and a power factor of 0.77. So for this amount of light, it's really quite efficient. I think it's on par or better than most of the cheap LED bulbs that you buy today. Certainly should last a lot longer. Now that it's hot, I believe that there should be no startup time. Yeah, I mean there's a slight delay in the strike, but it's at full brightness right away. And the top of this is super hot. I mean it's almost incandescent hot. But the ballast is cool, so it really should last a long time. And in fact, you can see the tubes are completely separated from the ballast. I don't think really any of that heat is going to be getting down in there, which is good. That's a good proper design. So it's a bulb of patience, but if you want a decent quality, long-lasting, high-efficiency light source, this is definitely a good option.